Hello, Accounting 201 students. This is Brother Lewis coming to you from St. George, Utah today. I'm out and about traveling again. Have to keep up the work. So I'm going to go over a couple of questions that students have asked regarding the quiz access and see if I can work through some of these problems with you to help out. I think it was effectively two different questions. One was to go over the double declining balance calculation, which doesn't show up in the quiz access, but I think does show up in the one of the, what is it called, the worksheets, the I forget what they call it. Anyway, the one of the assignments you have to do before the quiz. And then questions number 2, 9, and 11 in quiz access. So I'm going to go through those 4 different things today, unless somebody else comes online, and hopefully this will help you out. I'll try to break these up into the 4 different components. So let's start out with double declining balance, since it's not really out here in quiz access. What I did is I went ahead and I opened up. Let's see if this will move for me. Open up the the calculation for this. Now, unlike straight line, which takes the original value minus the salvage value and then like doubles it and stuff like that, it goes a slightly different route, right? So it says first compute the asset straight line depreciation rate, double that rate, and then apply it to the book value at the beginning of the value period. So what I would do if I were creating something from scratch and wanted to do like a depreciation schedule, right? Let me move this back up. Okay, so let's see if I can get this to auto hide. Hide video panel, hide floating controls. Okay, that'll work. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something like the data that they give you, because they'll give you a particular set of data and then probably ask you to do it a couple different ways, right? So if they give you the asset purchase price, purchase price, let's say it's $12,000, and let's say the salvage value is $2,000, and the useful life is 5 years. Okay, now in a straight line calc, you would take the purchase price minus the salvage value, right? And that would be divided by the number of years. Okay, so that would be your straight line calculation for annual depreciation. Pretty straightforward, right? It's $2,000. But on a double declining balance, it's going to be a little different. So, and the way it's going to work, and we'll just go ahead and do this by a depreciation schedule and say year beginning balance depreciation. Let's see, it's called the rate. And let's say ending balance. Okay, so here we go. Year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5. We know that those are the years. Beginning balance is going to be this $12,000. That's the net book value as the beginning. The rate is going to be essentially 100% divided by 5 times 2. So the 5 is the useful life. So you figure out effectively the normal rate, which is 20% per year, and then times it by 2. Okay, so it's a 0.4. So let's see, let's move this over actually. Let's call it depreciation. So we're going to take this beginning balance times the rate, it's 4,800, and then you're going to do the subtraction, right? This minus depreciation. And that's what you're going to effectively do every year. Okay, double declining. Now we can copy these down. We can copy this down. Oops. The rate stays the same. So we'll just make it equal to that. We'll just carry that down too. Okay, and this calculation stays the same. So this is effectively, if you were to run this way, we'll just keep it to the pennies. This is how you would run the double declining balance. And so they may ask you, which is unlikely, but it's possible, develop a schedule and tell me what the depreciation is for year 4, right? And that's the number you're going to end up using. So straight line calc is pretty straightforward, right? It's straight and straight and straight. So even if I come over here, so this is straight line. Let's move this all over. Move this one all over here. Maybe one more. Okay. This would be a double declining balance. A straight line calc would be more like this, where you have year 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Same thing. Beginning balance, though, is going to be your purchase price. Your rate is just going to be the it's 100% equals 100% divided by the useful life, which is, what did I do there? Okay, it's 20%. Depreciation is a little different because you're taking the beginning balance times or minus the salvage value, right? Times this value. And unlike the other one where, we change a little bit, actually it doesn't, the rate doesn't change. Let's see. Put that, sorry, right there. So this 2000 stays the same all the way down. Right. And the rate doesn't really matter. And so your beginning and ending balance works like this. You copy this down and you can do this equals that. And I actually made a mistake here. Let's freeze these numbers because they don't go anywhere. And we can keep that the same. But the big issue is keeping, let's make that fixed. And let's copy that down. So it's 20% every year. It's $2,000 every year because it's a straight line, right? And then we want this to be the beginning balance, the ending balance for the prior year, right? So in the end, on this one, we should get the $2,000 worth of salvage value because we excluded it from what's being depreciated year over year. This one, you don't exclude it on double declining, but you're always taking that rate against the beginning balance and run it through. So let's just double check that I got that right. Right here, right? So let's see the depreciation schedule here. Yep, 40% on the prior balance, beginning of your book balance. That's how you get this. Now, it says 10,000 minus the cost, 10,000 minus $1,000 in salvage. Depreciation expense book value here. Should match that right there. But that's not what for book value 64 gets to 9,000. Did I get to the same number? See, I didn't. I mean, Let's see if I run these numbers the same. 10,000. This was a 10,000 double decline. Schedule follows. Let's just go back to make sure. Same thing. 10, 1, and 5. Let's see if we can replicate this schedule. Make sure I got this right. 10, 1,000, and 5, right? So how is it different? Let's keep that there. Let's bring this so I can see the deal here, and let's see what we can see down below. So 10 and 4, 24, 14, 4, 86. So the real question is why this final year of depreciation was less to get to the salvage value, right? So that's the big difference there. So instead of depreciating the full, continuing to do the 40%, which they suggest you do, that was theoretically you would do, because 40% of 12 is not 296, it's more like 20%. Let's see what they say here about that last year. The schedule follows a formula except for the year of 2024 when depreciation is 296. 296 is not equal to 40% times 1296. We had used, okay, instead the 296 is computed as 1296 book value minus the salvage value. So at that final year, they do an adjustment to bring it just to the salvage value. It's a little tricky to know because you can't really set up a straight up depreciation schedule and make that work. You have to know that there's a salvage value. So effectively, this can never be below the salvage value. And the way you would do that is you have to back calculate these things and figure out how to make that work. So that's the only trick. All right. Final year, minimum depreciation or maximum amount, let's say, of depreciation cannot be greater than the purchase price minus the salvage value. Okay. So that's a little caveat on this type of a deal, right? So you effectively have to build in some logic into your formula so it doesn't go below the salvage value of $1,000. Okay, any questions on that? Just feel free to give me a holler. We can go over it some more if we need to, but let's go over to the quiz.